So Sego, Ani, Wache. As we remember and honor the victims and survivors of the residential school system, on Canada's National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, I want to recognize that Loyalist College is on the territory of the Huron-Wendat, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee people. We acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within. I'd also like to recognize our Indigenous students and colleagues who are here with us today on this day of mourning. I want to thank you for joining us to share your knowledge and life experience on what is surely a difficult day filled with complexity and emotions. Learning and commemorating the truth of our shared history from First Nations, Métis, and Inuit knowledge keepers is an important part of reconciliation and the long process of decolonization. Our college wishes to become a leader in reconciliation, and in order to advance the calls of action of Canada's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, we must confront our shared and painful past. As a post-secondary institution, and as a community of educators, we recognize our unique responsibility to support our Indigenous students. Verna J. Kirkness and Ray Barnard, both Indigenous scholars, describe our duty as educators with 4 key words: respect, relevance, reciprocity, and responsibility. These words signal that Indigenous students deserve to learn in an environment that respects them for who they are, that is relevant to their view of the world, that offers reciprocity in their relationships with others, and that helps them exercise responsibility in their own lives. While this week has been an important first step, we need to reflect deeper and educate ourselves further, both as a community and as individuals, on our role in the process of reconciliation and decolonization. At the institutional level, the onus is on us to foster a culture where students find a sense of belonging and feel at home in this educational environment. For Indigenous students, this is especially significant when going to school historically meant losing touch with who you were and checking your own culture at the door. On an individual level, we must think about how we can ensure our Indigenous students feel respected for who they are and the culture they bring with them to campus and into the classroom. For a student, feeling respected also means seeing their own culture celebrated and affirmed in the overall college culture. From Rod Nadagod's drumming and the flash mobs to the painting and drum making and the Indigenous-inspired menu options, the immersive cultural experiences on campus this week have been moving and inspiring.
I want you to think hard about my words while you hold this tobacco in your hand. On Monday, many of you were here to participate in the tobacco ceremony and the Ohén Karihwatéhkwen. And I asked you to set your intentions for the week. I asked you to take responsibility for your education of our shared past. I asked you to recognize that the emotions that you feel or felt throughout the week were a part of the process of learning about what happened right here in Canada. This week, many of you learned about residential schools, but you also started to feel what it might have been like to have your children taken, or to have yourself taken from your family. You learned about the Indian Act and how the Canadian government sought to rid itself of the Indian problem, and sought to rid itself of the Indian problem until 1996. That is in our lifetime. And that responsibility lies with all Canadians. You learned about the public school education system and how it did you a disservice because you didn't learn both sides of the history. And I hope that outraged you. I hope you felt sadness this week. I hope you felt anger, and I hope you were outraged. Because if you were, then we achieved our goal. But I hope that you also felt our pride in who we are and the fact that we're still here, and that we drummed every day, and that we sang and we danced and we shared our teachings that we still have today. not long from now, the Haudenosaunee in Gundege will be celebrating the harvest ceremony. We still are here, and for that I am profoundly grateful. While you hold this tobacco in your hand as we do the closing now, because the fire has been open all week and it's time for it to close, and it's time for us to retreat into the Indigenous Center and support each other, because this is a day of mourning for us. I want you to set your intentions again into this tobacco. To not have the education that you've been gaining stop today. It needs to continue. And those emotions that you felt need to propel you into action.